dust of the veldt, where the wind does moan. We've carved out a life in the soil and stone. They call us names, but we stand up tall. For faith and family, we've weathered it all. Raise the flag high, let the colors fly. With our hands we've built under God's own sky. No insult can break what's forged in our soul. Africa in her heart, steadfast and whole. They say we're dogs, they say we're small, but we've built empires and answered the call. With the earth in our palms and the sun on our backs, we march to the rhythm of unbroken tracks. Through the storms and strife we hold the line. The roots run deep like the old oak spine. Pride in our spirit, love in our veins. The faith of our fathers forever remains. Raise the flag high, let the colors fly. With our hands we've built under God's own sky. No insult can break what's forged in our soul. Africa in her heart, steadfast and whole. Through the years and miles we've walked this road, bearing the burdens, carrying the load. But the light of our fire, it will never fade. For the strength of our people will never be swayed.
Sunsets and skies so blue, mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than the shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies, they weave their weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people above it all. We know.
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good, really good.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Well, hey there, all you Neanderthals, canines, right-wing podcasters, car guards. Who else we left out there? Welcome back to the program, folks. It is Wednesdays. Ooh, always busy on Wednesday. Already did one interview this morning, recorded 2 videos, took several phone calls, and beginning to get a little bit frustrated with things. There was a comment here by someone a few moments ago that sent me an email, asked me if they did something wrong. Kathy said, I sent you an email. Did I do something wrong? Kathy, I don't know how to answer that. I don't think people fully grasp what's going on here. Thousands of emails, thousands of WhatsApps. My phone drained in 2 hours a couple of days ago because I received thousands of unsolicited WhatsApps. People sending me stuff all the time. Kathy, I don't know what you're talking about. Did you do something wrong? Why? Did I send you a nastygram? Did I not answer email? Honestly, I mean, I found an email from a lady from the 26th of May, or not email, but a WhatsApp the other night, and she's cocking me out, yelling at me and screaming emotional about why I deleted her from a group. I didn't delete her from any group. I mean, you know, guys, I mean, look, a little, look, I mean, I don't want to say this is a hobby, but this isn't my job. Yet I spend all my waking hours, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, getting up at 6 o'clock, reading emails and trying to answer people's questions. I don't understand, Kathy. That's a very cryptic message. I cannot divine anything from that other than you sent me an email and for some reason you're upset. Please explain what you're talking about. I'm not trying to call you out, but you typed it in there and I'm trying to answer your question as best I can. So I don't know what that's about. So I have no idea what that's about. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. It's Wednesday. Oh, boy. Wow. It just never ends. Oh, remind me. I forgot to take this morning. Yes. The fellow car guards. Okay. Yes. Hey, Mr. Sergeant Duck's back. Hadn't seen you in a while. What's going on? Yeah. So, Napoleon says what old people are like, huh? Antoinette Thomas says, yikes, you're quite the hunk of burning love in your uniform and without the beard. Well, are you 23 and born in my sea? Just asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend, folks. Pills, what are you talking about? No, that's doxycycline. Should have taken it hours ago. Marilyn Brokenshaw, how are you? How's Lindsay, man? How's it going? Car guard reporting for duty. Good to see you there, Johan Fandahiva. Here, can I bring my cat? Friend of a friend. Okay, I did a song for you and just wanted to... Hello. Oh, yeah, I saw that. You sent that email, I think. I haven't had time to listen to the song. The bugger off bunny's right here. By the way, folks, there you go. Starbucks. Is it chocolate? Yeah, it's mocha. It's mostly milk and sugar. Anyway, Varushka, is Varushka here? Welcome to you. Candace, hello to you. Chris Ehlers, hope you're feeling better today, Chris. And then here we go again. Emails, trolls. Imagine yourself. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's Altabala. Yeah, imagine if you were getting. Look, I mean, oops, what's this? I've just. Oh my goodness, this is something I'm waiting for. Finally getting. Okay. Oh, I was about to ask about that. This is a project I've been waiting for answers on for 3 months, and it's coming to fruition. Just found out the project's coming to fruition. That's good news. Unrelated to this broadcast. Jacques Vint is saying hello to his racist. Missed them. Well, you're on the wrong channel. You need to go to the EFF YouTube channel. Migo Multipass. We're not going to make 100,000. I don't think we're going to get there. We've been milking this along for days now. We are not at 100,000. We've been over 99,000 for, let me see how many days now. YouTube is intentionally harassing, and my viewership is plummeting. YouTube is no longer recommending my videos. I can show you that. So we've been at 99,000 since the 1st of June. So for 4 days, we haven't gained 1,000 subscribers in 4 days. Francois Diego with the 35 rand super chat. Thank you for that. Yeah, no, YouTube is playing their games, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. In the last 48 hours, 3 days ago, I went from 385,000 views in 48 hours to down to 200 something, down to 100, now I'm to 185,000. The numbers are dropping precipitously. Yeah, people are not tuning in. So, yep, that's what's going on, YouTube. And so, I'm not going to get to 100,000, it doesn't look like. So, anyway. What's this? Garrett Machines are scrap. What's this? Beautiful new intro. Do you like that? Wow, you're so talented. Greatly appreciate. Well, I have the help of artificial intelligence, but thank you. I gave him I ran out of text. You only get to put so much text there unless you give him all the lyrics. I didn't give him all the lyrics, so I ran out of text. I had to adjust a few things so that it fit inside the text window there for that. Andre Mostart, it's awesome listening again for what you will talk to us again on whichever video. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Wills, how's it going? Wills, I saw your message. You're asking me to talk about something which I've talked about many times, and I'll cover it. Hannes Holzhausen, how's it going? Okay, I can't say hi to everybody here. Psycho Billy's here. Way Masakina's big Neanderthals, dogs, canines, cowards, FEMA tent campers, car guards, right-wing podcast trolls, dingbat doorknobs, hate wankers, and bugger off bunny. I think you've covered pretty much everybody. Charles Van Olsen's here, the voice of reason. Lots of people in the chat. I can't say hello to everybody. So did she answer my question? Oh, I think I did answer a question. That's about that song. Thank you. Remember, 100,000, the beard is gone. Nope, Marcel, that wasn't the deal. You guys are trying to negotiate after the fact. You sound like Democrats. You sound like the ANC. The deal was 100,000 while I'm in South Africa, and I will trim the beard close. That was the deal. It was never shaving the beard off. Yeah, you can't just take it off at once. People have heart attacks, man. Women will swoon all over the world. There'll be mass reporting of people passing out if I shave the entire beard off. You know, guys got to relax. Yaku Fari, welcome to Crypto Noob is back. Something is wrong. You are so popular. Must have been over 100,000 a long time ago. Jana Vandenberg, something's always been wrong with YouTube. Always been wrong. Yep, always been wrong. Yeah, I got notified by YouTube. Okay, you're one of the few. Who is Dominique? I don't know who that is. Marina DeRoder, thank you for membership. Thank you. Colonel, start an anti-white South African site and you'll have 1 million subscribers a day. True story there. Please keep the beard, says El Marie Puth. Okay. YouTube is jealous. Santa does not strut and no beard. Look at Mustay, says Delana. See, look at the ladies, man. Paul Liebenberg with the 20. Oh, why am I saluting for a super chat? Thank you for the super chat. I thought it was a membership. What a great song or intro. Thank you. Yeah, cool beans. 100,000, at least give us a mohawk. Mohawk, you were crazy. I tried that once. It lasted, and I went and got the head shaved. Didn't work. Hold on. I've seen your clean shaven pics, and wow. The aunties will swoon. Viewers are very concerned about it. Okay, so, all right. What he's talking about is something that I can't answer definitively, but I can answer from a common sense perspective because I do know that it does apply. So the question here is if you have parents or family in South Africa that stay behind, you come to America as a refugee. Since you're not allowed to return to your place you fled from, what happens if your family falls ill or there's a death in the family? Well, they can make exceptions, but given the way South Africans have been behaving about this, so many South Africans thinking this is a holiday program or, you know, this is your free immigration to America because you don't have $40,000 to immigrate here. I wonder how they're going to handle that, because if they get tens of thousands of requests for people to go back with family members who are ill, that's going to become problematic. But the answer to the question is they do make exceptions. Also, that Canadian consultant who rubbished himself on Newsroom Africa a few months back, lying about the program, calling it asylum. It's not asylum. I'm still getting emails from people talking about they've applied for asylum. They haven't applied for asylum. How can you apply for asylum in South Africa? It's not even legal, not even possible. Well, I went to the web. There's no website to apply for asylum, ladies and gentlemen. You go to authorities in America, if you're here legally, and say, I can't go home. They threaten my life. That's how you get asylum. And then you start a long, lengthy, expensive court case that goes on for years, and you're adjudicated by someone like me, someone who's not even a member of the bar. Donnie Pinavald gave 70 Rand. Thank you for the super sticker. Kamini Govinder says, thank you so much for all your advice. Continually exposing the truth. I'm grateful. Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. I appreciate that. Professor G says, no, refugee program is not in jeopardy. Who said it was in jeopardy? Professor G, I didn't say that. Okay, I've watched the professor's video, and he says the refugee program might be in jeopardy. No, I didn't see that either, the host one. I didn't see that. Several people told me that. So I went and watched his video. I don't get that from his video. All I get is him speaking some Afrikaans and talking about some other things. I never saw that. Antoinette says, women are swooning already. Francois with a capital F. Yeah, Professor G's here. After you get the green card, can't we go back? No, Anonymous. You don't know what a green card is. What is a green card? What is a green card? Somebody want to answer that question? Not you, Professor G. You can't answer that. No Americans can answer. What is a green card? What is a green card? I'll tell you what it is. If you know the UK, I can give you the phrase. If you've been to the UK, there's a phrase which makes no sense in English, but they use it in the UK. Okay? Anybody know what a green card is? It's not a work permit. No, it's not a work permit. It's not a work permit. Katie got it right. So did Alan. It's permanent residence. You are granted permanent legal residence in the United States. That's what a green card is. It allows you to work because you have permanent residence here. Permanent residence. It's like leave to remain. In the United Kingdom, you get leave to remain. And that means you can stay there. So you can leave the country. You can go elsewhere. Once you have leave to remain or a green card in America, you have permanent residence, you can travel somewhere. Now, the problem is that refugees are not normally allowed to go home to the country. By the way, this is a news program. Here we are talking about the refugees. I'm going to allow it today because I'm in a, I don't know, not a flippant, but in a mood. I'm definitely in a mood today, so we're going to allow this. So, because it's important, and there are 900 people here right now, so might as well get the word out to as many people as possible. So, it lets you live in America. You can leave the country and come back. That's what a green card is. They're not really green anymore. It's just what they're called. Anyway, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, Professor G. You are an attorney of record. You have passed the bar. So have I. I just don't drink. Dad jokes. Dad jokes. Dad jokes. Well, see, Venom, that's the problem if people just read the headlines and don't watch the video. It's like the people who quote they take Twitter things and repost them. They never read the articles. And Twitter finally think, hey, don't you want to read the article before you comment? I like that. Margaritaville, the bar exam. Exactly. I passed the bar. Went right past it. Bev, 35. Marry me, Colonel, but only with a beard. Bev, okay. People don't understand. It's a mass exodus. It's not going to happen overnight. I think it's just so much desperation. It is, Quentin. And a lot of people, look, I mean, so that's why I'm being a little, I'm in a mood. So I'm going to address some of these things right now because I want to talk about what happened last night on the program. Sonia Geyer, 140 Rand super sticker. Thank you for that. Anyway, we'll not come back at all, says Gerda. Yep. What's this? Where is the bar? Well, there's bars everywhere, man. We have some crappy bars in America. In a good mood. I don't know if I'm in a good mood. I'm kind of irritated. Yeah, exactly. 1440. I pass the bar every day. Exactly. I went out to the store last week, assaulted by 3 Africans wearing EFF shirts, chanting slurs toward me. Filed a case of police now, declare it racist on my end for doing so. What? Now, that doesn't stand up in court. Don't worry about that. I wouldn't worry about that at all. Irene Leroux, 35 Rand. Boy, it's the day of tiny super chats. Thank you all for them. I appreciate it. Monica Fanikerk, thank you. And Fresh Tea for all you do for us. So pass the bar, don't drink. Okay, so last night on the program, when I did the Night Owls, which was this morning for South Africans, someone started saying that, oh yeah, no, there's a guy in Wyoming. There's a group. They're called, Operation Lift or something like that. They're getting South Africa's pets for refugees to America for $200. $200. And I said, no, that can't possibly be true. That sounds like a scam. I don't know who this is. I don't know anything about it, but that doesn't sound right. Several people in the chat called it a scam. I didn't call it a scam. I said it sounded like a scam. Today, I get a whole bunch of unsolicited WhatsApp messages going, I heard you called this a scam. That's not true. This is who you should talk to. Okay. Thank you for that. That interrupted my morning and ate up some time, and I did contact one of the people purportedly involved in it. The problem is people hear what they want to hear, kind of like Professor G's video. People are hearing what they want to hear. They're not listening. It reminds me of, the, what's his name there with Jackie Chan. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Don't nobody understand the words coming out of your mouth. All right, so listen, folks. Stop hearing what you want to hear. Stop going for confirmation bias. People who have no money, or who are skinflints, or both, and want to come to America under the refugee program, want to bring their pets and want it to be free. So they hear what they want to hear. I have told you quite clearly, I shipped cats from the United States to Botswana. 2 cats. Tiny little cats. What do they weigh? 2 kgs? Not even. Through South Africa, because of South Africa's veterinary requirements, which are outrageous, $5,800 to send them to Botswana. By contrast, when I brought my cat that I adopted from Tunisia, which is one of those cats, back from Tunisia, put him on the boat with me, went across the Mediterranean, landed in Marseille, biggest Arab city in Europe, drove up to Switzerland, stayed overnight where my ancestors came from, took some snaps and photos of the little village where they're from, which, by the way, is full of non-Swiss now. I can't go back there anymore. It's not Switzerland anymore. It's little whatever the heck it is. Then I went up to Germany, and I got on a flight after visiting folks, and then I paid $100 to fly my cat to the States. That was it. But to go to South Africa cost $5,800 because of South Africa's veterinary requirements and their administrative requirements. When I came back, I avoided some of that cost by driving over the border at Kopfontein, Tokwang, drove down to Pretoria East, dropped my cats off at a kennel who handled it, and it still cost me $2,800. 2 cats, 60,000 Rand, 15 years ago. 15 years ago. So stop telling me that it's $200. I spoke to the gentleman who's involved in that project, and he said the $200 is for the titer test for dogs. The titer test. One of many things you must do to bring a pet to the States. So whoever is spreading around that there's an NGO that's getting pets over here for $200, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. To bring my dog back from Panama, $6,000, says Yvette. There you go, see? We decided to find good homes for our pets and not want to put them through the stress of bringing them over. Really bitter and sad decision to make, though. Well, bug out, ZA. Pets manage. I mean, my cat was really skittish. It was an adopted street stray, and he survived flying. It was stressful for him, but he survived. Hank Odrinse, one of the OGs. I can't understand. Chris, you're spending so much of your personal time to do this, and then you have to put up with people that think you must answer. Yeah, Hank, I also. And then people get upset. Why didn't you respond to me? I mean, look, folks, if you write to me and 2 weeks later I haven't responded to you, that's reasonable. Say, hey, did you get my message? Did you miss it? But when you send me a message the next morning, you're like, why didn't you respond? Do you think what do you think I get 5 emails per day? I have 7 email accounts I monitor regularly. I have WhatsApp. I have a cell phone. Islam Arakani Rohingya. Okay, thank you for your subscription. Yeah, people, you may have nothing going on in your life. You may have time to text me and write to me all the time, but you're not the only person. And thank you, Hank. I appreciate that, what you're saying. People, that doesn't mean don't stop writing to me. I appreciate what people send me. But guys, I've missed important messages because people inundate with messages and they're just like, oh, look at this. And I did a video earlier, which I'm getting a little torqued off about because people keep sending me messages, and that's fine. And they keep sending, thank you, Francois, for the super chat. It was, don't understand how you fear for your life, but want to go back. Exactly. I just want my family out and never go back. Yes, Francois, I got you. But, it also plays into the point that the leftists in South Africa are making, well, it's not dangerous. They want to come back. So you got to understand that. But I appreciate where people are from, you have to leave family behind. You may never see them again. Santana had to make that decision. Her grandmother's a nonagenarian and has dementia and wanted to come, then changed her mind, wanted to come, changed her mind, didn't come, stayed with her uncle. She may never see him again. Their grandkids or the great-grandkids may never see their grandmother. It's a difficult decision. I said this is going to split families. But anyway, yeah, so... Where are you guys getting this stuff, Anonymous? Trump and Ramaphosa having a meeting. There's no such meeting. Who's telling you this is happening? I've seen no news reports of this. See, this is South Africans. You're just a bunch of gossipers. You spread stuff around like wildfire. Not all of you, but many of you. I haven't seen the Petzer interview. He's talking about the people in America that can't apply for refugee that he suggested to apply for asylum, that is program in jeopardy. I don't know the asylum's in jeopardy, but he's closer to it than I am. But it doesn't matter whether the asylum program's in jeopardy. Only a handful of people ever get asylum. Are you watching the videos of ICE agents? Wow, thank you for the super chat. Boy, super chats are coming through now. If you watch the videos of ICE agents who are arresting people whose asylum cases after years of waiting are disapproved, they're at the courthouse. I love it. I love it because they're frauds. They're not real asylum seekers. They're not really in jeopardy. They're economic migrants, and they're being turned down as they should have been. But they got to stay here for years and live on our dime and take jobs from Americans and drive down wages. Now, asylum is abused. And most people aren't legitimate asylum seekers. I know. I've gone and been involved in an asylum case. Yeah, I may not be an attorney, but I was involved in a legitimate asylum case for a Congolese woman who's being beaten by her military officer husband here at the War College. And unfortunately, I got involved because I was a French linguist. Why are people so bothered about pets? Your life is like, well, I got you, Quentin. You know, people are going to stay at home and be murdered on their farms because they don't want to leave their dog behind. Look, I get you, but you're going to get a lot of flack for that. Oh, it's a member of my family. Well, okay, then find the money. Took Mexico for 5 years. Took a German Shepherd with us. It cost $5,000 to get her to Mexico. Yep. People actually add their own paragraph to stories. Exactly, Fabian. Fabian Berger's right. People add their own nonsense to stories. It's like the little story. You sit in primary school, and you whisper, the yellow bird. And by the time he gets around here, it's a freaking pterodactyl attacked the room and 6 people were killed. Yeah, Nick, you don't escape war zones with your pets or your livestock. What's Trump's big, beautiful bill? What's the impact on refugees? Nothing, Theodore. It's a big, beautiful bill is the budget for the U.S. government to operate. The only impact on you is how much money is devoted to spending for refugee resettlement program. But that's in every bill. So it's nothing to do with you. We decided to find good homes for our pets. Okay, Chris, you can tell them I got an actual formal quote of 48,000 still working. Yep. 6,000 to bring it. So you paid 11. Oh, yeah, that's from Panama. What's this honestly thing? I missed that. Somebody said honestly. Oh man, these chats. Honestly, as a refugee going over to a new country, you should not bring your pets unless you're going to a permanent home. Well, no one's going to a permanent home. So that's the first thing you need to understand. You're going to come over here and you want to bring your pets. Do you know where your pets are going? To a kennel. They're going to a kennel. You're going to have to pay for a kennel. Do you have money to pay for a kennel? Do you know what a pet costs per day? Probably $20 per day per pet. Minimum in a kennel. So a week, that's $100, $400 a month. Do you have 8,000 Rand a month to pay for pets to stay in a kennel until you get a permanent residence? And if you're given an apartment building, many apartments won't allow pets. Asylum's possible, cost out of your pocket. Yes, Lynn, it's possible, but you want to roll the dice? Okay, 3% of people get approved. Historically, almost no South Africans. Oh, okay, I'm going to take that. Or are you going to take the advantage that all you have to do is say you have a legitimate fear of persecution, 142 laws that prevent me from getting a job. Okay, come on over. It's free. Oh, and we'll give you relocation services. All you got to do is pay for your flight, and then you can, we'll get you, translate your CV. We'll get you food in your hamper. We'll get you temporary lodging, and then put you in a place and help you get a driver's license. Really? So why would you want asylum? That's dumb. Emil's friend was murdered. He was gutted? Good God, Emil. Cheapest we got per pet was $54,000. Exactly, Jacques. It's from a WhatsApp channel that promotes your channel. What's from a WhatsApp channel? Where the person said $200? Well, stop it. Just got a quotation, take my cat over, $60,000. And Lunar Zeus says, I've decided to wait until I've settled down before going ahead. That's what Thea did. Exactly, no one. People hear, but they don't listen. How many refugees left so far? 59 in the first batch, and I will not tell you how many in the second batch or the third batch. Oh, is there a third batch already in America? Did I say that out loud? Oh, no. We don't. Just kidding. All your pets have to be chipped. Your dogs and cats have to be chipped, Art Queen, not just dogs. Cats too. My house is sold. Going to look for a 3-bedroom flat tomorrow. Good Lord. Gus, just upgraded my car guard status. How big is your yard? I don't need a house guard. It's too safe here. Ronell, hello to you. And Congo Chris is here. Tailfinder Warhawks, my 2 exotic birds will cost $5,500, and they will be kept in quarantine if I'm not mistaken, Tailfinder. Birds are a problem. Is this live about pets? Well, apparently it is. It's not about that, Mass. It's about people not listening and hearing what they want to hear. And Francois doesn't understand how people fear for their life and they want to go back. Yep. Just got a quote from Cape Town to Dulles. 9 cats on Emerald. 9 cats? Good Lord, Nola. Are you a cat lady or what? 121,000 Rand. Layover in Doha. And 5 animals. Yeah, you're not unique, Steve Herselman, about pets being like family. The Germans and Americans are the same way. 5 animals. 2 of them are coming. I cannot bring them for your child's sake. I will help someone with their youngest dogs. I have a few of my Russian friends who left in 5 animals. Good Lord. Keith Alderson, where you been, man? How's Coventry? As far as I know, leave to remain is to use the word as a noun unrelated to the verb to leave. It has nothing to do with leaving. I know, isn't it crazy? So I got somebody from UK to comment. Yeah, it says leave to remain makes no sense, but that's what it's called. That's what a green card is in the UK. Service animals, you still got to pay for, Ant. I'm not sure how that works. Leave an item of your clothing with a pet and they travel, it comforts them. Well, that's an interesting idea. The other day I was paying at a till. A bunch of black guys made kissing sounds. I looked up, they barked. When I looked at the cashier, whom I usually friendly relationship, he did the same. And that's because of Nota Beloy. Because he's the one that said that. Nobody's doing that before Nota Beloy said that nonsense. My dogs must go, says Rex, okay? Just the flight for 2 cats is $38,000. Then the chips and vacation, the blood test, the chip costs $570, a 3-in-1 test, the blood test. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, that's right. They can't leave for a period of time, so you better go get them chipped and jabbed and all that stuff now. Your transform expropriated last night. I'm so sorry to hear that. If I ask when you go for interviews, how long does it take to do all the interviews? Vanessa, it's never the same. 45 minutes, 3 hours, depends. And the medical isn't when you go for the interview. It's another trip. Can we start the list of people that are not listening? Yeah, there you go. We'll start identifying the people that aren't listening. Dawn Fisser, welcome to you. And Cyril Fundamova gave 100 Rand. Thank you for that, Cyril. I met a fellow refugee at Home Affairs today. We were waiting patiently. Okay, Lucky Luke. You're not refugees yet. You're applying. I had a hip replacement. Oh, my goodness, Linziki. Ouch, 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 ouch. I don't want to hear about that. I'm glad it went well, though. 16 years old. Yeah, that's old. Steve says, you answer people as you see fit, but people think that you must notice them and answer them. No, Steve, I answer people based on the flow, the number of messages. I answer people based on what they put down, whether it's addressed to me or not. A lot of times people write something to me, they don't address me in the chat, so I don't see it. And I address it if it's apropos and if it doesn't distract from what's going on. Right now, I haven't even gotten to the news, and we're having a conversation, and it's fine. So, yes, you're right. But people get bent out of shape when you don't address them. You never answer my messages. That's not true. You're not listening. I can't see all of them. And, the chat constantly jumps up and down. This stupid software jumps it up and down, so I miss things when I go back and forth. Con de Bruyne, 35 Rand. That's why the super chats are so helpful, because they jump out. And the rest, $3,000 for the flight, $2,000 landing, and vet costs once they've landed, 2 Jackies. Okay. I assume Jackies are Jack Russell Terriers. $3,000 for the flight and $2,000. I don't understand what the landing what you're paying, vet costs. So that's $5,000 minimum. Thank you, Con. Rudy Kutz, a 14 Rand super sticker. We're all making sacrifices. We get this opportunity, we must make peace with that, guys. All of us like to add an extra piece of juicy story. Exactly. Do you hear there are suspicious YouTuber that are taking huge amounts of money from unsuspecting Afrikaners? Yes, Mustard Olive, and that guy is a fraud and tried to come on my channel, and I just ignored him. And then he came to my meet and greet and asked for a photo along with hundreds of other people. I did it, and then he used the photo to claim that I endorsed what he was doing, which is a lie. People called him out on it. And in response, I hadn't even talked to this idiot. In response, he made a video trying to rubbish me. Well, he's been exposed for the fraud he is. I've had half a dozen people come on my program and talk about how he stole their money. So, I can't do anything about that. If you're foolish enough to give somebody money and not listen to what I've been saying since February 7th, March, April, May, June 7th, a couple days away from being 4 months, I've been warning you that it costs nothing to become a participant in the refugee program. You don't pay for medical exams. There's no queue. You don't get to jump the line. You don't get put on a list. You don't pay anybody anything. It's free. It's not free. It's free to you. I pay for it through my tax dollars. So if you let yourself be fleeced by some huckster who's an Afrikaner, that's your fault. And I'm finding it difficult to have empathy for people who are too stupid to listen and pay attention. It's really becoming frustrating. People coming and sending me messages, wasting my time. Oh, I was taken by this person. Okay. And they're like, should I report them to the embassy? Why? What is the embassy going to do? They're South African citizen. There's no law they've broken in America. Report them to SAPS, and they'll do nothing. Budgie got his own wings. No interest in peace. They want money, not advice. Exactly, Quentin. You're right. I gave my whole family all the resource information about the program and told them I would help if they want to go, but they say, exactly, Napoleon, they stay. That's their decision. Professor G says, not in jeopardy. The program will still always be there. We'll always have a high denial rate. Trump is trying to end the abuse of the system. Exactly. Okay, thank you. That's what's going on here. And that's what I've been saying since January when he suspended the refugee program. The asylum program has been illegally, Professor, you can comment on this. The Biden regime broke the Immigration Nationality Act. They violated the law on a serial basis to the tune of probably 10 million people. And they did several things. Number one, in America, you cannot board a flight since 9/11, since a few years after that, without Real ID. Real ID is a piece of identification that has biometric information and is linked to databases so they can instantly check terror databases and criminal backgrounds just like that at an airport. You cannot get on a plane in America. Now, how does that work for foreigners? Because you don't have a driver's license, because driver's licenses are normally Real ID. All U.S. passports are Real ID. All U.S. military ID cards are Real ID. And some state driver's license. All of them are required to be Real ID, but some allow non-Real ID. So I have a non-Real ID state driver's license, but I don't need Real ID because I have a passport and have a military ID card. So foreign nationals, your passport has the requisite biometric information, and we have access to the databases. So the Biden regime allowed criminals to invade America, wading across the Rio Grande or riding on little rickety boats to Miami from Haiti and Dominican Republic and elsewhere, land in America illegally, and then they illegally put them on flights, processed them without identification, just an arrest warrant, flew them to Tallahassee, the capital of Florida, to Albany, the capital of New York, to Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania, in the dark of night on unmarked, government contracted planes, and dumped them in our neighborhoods. They dumped hundreds of Haitians in Harrisburg thinking we're too stupid. Well, they're black people, so nobody's going to know. I think we can tell the difference between a Haitian and a black American. It's pretty easy to tell. So they broke immigration law, and then they illegally gave them permission to work because asylum seekers are not allowed to work. They gave them permission to work and gave them temporary protected status, which is illegal. And then they flooded the courts. So the courts don't work. No one can listen to 30 million freaking cases, or 12 million, whatever the number is. And that's why asylum is broken. That's why Trump is putting pressure on the program and wants it fixed. Now, what did I get wrong, Professor G? All right. Anthony said, I emailed you about an NGO that was going to start to help refugees bring their pets for my 4 dogs, roughly 29,000. After all the people rubbishing the cost, I closed it. Yeah, well, see, no good deed goes unpunished. Trust me, I know. Yeah, Ramaphosa doesn't have the balls for another meeting with Trump. I agree. I have to leave my dearest doggy behind. I'm sorry to hear that. I already made arrangements for our pets with people who are staying. People are just not taking this. Thank you, Lauren Clegg. People are not taking it seriously. Do you know why they're not taking it seriously enough? Because they're not living in camps in Kenya after having fled from rape and murder in Somalia. They're not living in Chad after John Jaweed murdered their family. They're not living in Uganda. Now, some people are going to get angry at me. Oh, you're downplaying our plight. I'm not downplaying your plight. I'm not downplaying your plight. But there isn't the instant pressure in-country refugee status. It isn't the instant pressure that you have in other places. That's why people are not taking it seriously. Okay. Hey, friends in Eiserfontein, wish people would understand what refugee status means, although hard, tough decisions have to be made. Yeah, I don't think people understand. This is the most frustrating part about all this. Right. Amazon Texas says, I'm a little annoyed at people with millions flooding the program. Your life is valuable, no doubt. But if you were so worried before, then why didn't you just pay and go? Fair point. Marty, like the flag. Tony Duval, welcome to you. Mark King Joubert. Fabian Borger, if you pay money after so many warnings from the colonel and press G, you either don't have ears, you're stupid. Exactly. Nathan James Thompson, 350 Rand. Super chat. Can we please get the fluffy furry bunny? Serious question, though. Would this be a favorable time to seek alternative means of gaining entry to the U.S.? If so, could you please touch on some options? Sure. I'll talk on some options there. But what's the obsession with the bunny? He's always sticking his nose in things, and he pops up in the middle. There he is again. There he is again. I told you to behave. That damn bunny. Guess what? You think you're clever? I've got a friend, too, over here. Yes, there you go. Options. Well, you can apply for the visa lottery. You lost. You can, diversity lottery, which I think is currently frozen. You can apply for a visa and seek to come here as an economic migrant who has money. If you have $5 million, woo, they'll let you in. If you have, is it $10 million, you get the golden ticket. You get permanent residency, just like that. Yeah, you can apply for a student visa if you want to go to school over here. Yeah, so those are some options. That's pretty much it. Or you can apply for the refugee program, Nathan. In my meager opinion, the meaning of refugee doesn't change even ever. Refugees are put where the guest countries seem fit. Exactly. Can we get x-rays and TB tests done in advance? No, you cannot, enemy. You go where they tell you. They only accept the results from certain places because people fake them. There's so much fraud tied to refugees around the world. That's why people sit in camps for 8, 10, 15 years in Kenya, because of the fraud. Yep. Jacques DeVos, 35 Rand. Hi, Colonel. Will you be interviewing someone from the second, third batch? Possibly from the second batch this weekend. Probably Thea this weekend again. Also have an update, and I want to share this. So let me find this really quickly here, if I can find it. So hang on a second. See, all kinds of stuff is going on. We got Jacques Kleinhans saying that only 8,000 inquiries went to the embassy. We've got Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying it was 70,000. And now there's a news report in ECR saying that 50,000 inquiries have been made. And that's from the embassy. So, look. Hang on a second here. So I'm trying to find, where is this at now? This showed up earlier. There it is. Okay. So let me relate a story why I've been so circumspect with this, okay? I'm going to read this to you, and I got to disguise who this is. So this is a refugee whom I know in America. A New York Times reporter pitched up at her house after stalking the neighborhood to the extent that my minor child came to complain about a lady constantly walking up and down, and then when the spouse stepped out of the house to take a call, she was approached, and when she refused to answer a question, the New York Times reporter asked the minor child if the child would speak to her. That's in clear violation of the law. The child came to call and asked her where she got her address. She stated, just by luck, no one gave it, and asked if I wished to speak to her. And I said, no, you can leave our yard. So we have New York Times reporters stalking the homes of refugees in America and illegally seeking to speak to minors, not even teenagers, minors, and interview them. This is disgusting. Now, I can't confirm that that person was from the New York Times. They claim to be from the New York Times. Maybe they're not. So maybe it's not really New York Times. But this is what's happening. This is why we're not doing this. Refugees being harassed. No one deserves this treatment. No one. These people didn't create the refugee program. They didn't scheme it. They didn't scam it. They didn't cheat it. They sent a message in. They got called in for interviews. They were interviewed. The U.S. government vetted them and believed that they were generally in jeopardy and brought them over here. End of the story. Leave them alone. Congo Chris, I'm selling Colonel endorsed beard oil. Actually, I have some beard oil from a gentleman here. I haven't had a chance to actually do anything with it. A client who had their asylum hearing debt safe for January 2029. Exactly. Why would you apply for asylum and sit around here and be poor for the next 5 years waiting for a hearing? Christo, welcome. Thanks for indulging us about our pets. My pet will put his life at risk to protect me. Think of those dogs who were poisoned in the last farm attack. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Anyone else experienced Colonel Professor videos are lagging, live or posted? Just stop it, pause it, wait 30 seconds or a minute, then push play, and you'll be fine. It's your network connection. Our GSTs are our first line of defense, okay? How do you get interested to enter the military, and how did you get interested to enter the military, and how were your life there from troop to colonel? Oh, Peter, okay, interesting question. Why are you guys talking about Kim Town? Roman Kabernak was fired yesterday on his birthday. Really? Where did he confirm that at? In Twitter? I would sue. They have no basis for him. Unless he did something that gave him a basis for it. I would sue if I were Roman. Make them pay. Well, here it is. 20 seconds. Let's play it. When did he publish this? Thank you for that. He published it 5 minutes ago. Wow. Okay, here we go. Thank you for that update about Roman.
Hey everyone, this is Roman Kabernak. I received a letter that terminates my tenure as Chief of Staff to the Minister of Agriculture. I received it yesterday, which was on my birthday, so fantastic timing. I believe there are a few flaws with the termination letter, so I'll be looking at options going forward, and I'll keep you updated of the progress thereof. Cheers. Hey everyone, this is Roman Kabernak.
I hate that Twitter just replays everything over and over again. All right, so Roman has been sacked. I'm sure he has a legal case. We'll see what happens. Okay, my brother is roughly paying $30,000 family of 4, but you have a job ready when you get there. They still have to get your social security number. Oh, back to the question was asked about the military. So how to get into the military? Well, in high school, unemployment was like, I don't know, 20% where I lived at. It was high. I didn't own a farm. Didn't have any money, and had no real prospects. And so in high school, I said, well, I'll enlist in the Army. I'd always been fascinated by the military and interested in it, and was very patriotic. And so I was heartbroken at how America declined in the mid-1970s after our bicentennial. The country went to crap. And I was really heartbroken. As a patriot, coming of age, I wanted to do something. So I decided I was going to join the Army. But then in high school, I had a couple teachers, Larry Householder and David Kunkler, who taught some of the classes I had for world history, world religions, American government, things like that. And both of them would talk to me and say, hey, so where are you going to go to college next year? I'm like, college? I don't have any money. They're like, well, you don't need money. I said, what do you mean you don't have money? Well, they have grants and loans, and so go to the guidance counselor's office and do some research. So I did. I went and found out about them, and I applied, and I got accepted. But in the meantime, while I applied, I decided that I wanted to go to university, go to ROTC, the Reserve Officer Training Program, and become an Army officer to be a leader. I wanted to be a leader, lead people. So I went to university for a year at the age of 17 and didn't apply myself very well. I had a great time, great experience, no regrets. But I decided that, gosh, it's so long ago now. That's 43 years ago, 42 years ago. Wow. So as the spring came, I realized I was wasting my time and other people's money, so I enlisted in the Army. I figured I'd get experience as an enlisted soldier and, get money for school and maybe get some college classes out of the way. And then I would, know what it's like to be enlisted and have more empathy for people who are enlisted. Honestly, that's what I thought at the age of 18. And so I went in the Army and became a non-commissioned officer at some point, got out, went back, joined the National Guard while I was in college again, finished my degree with high honors. And then I went back in as a leader. And my life in the military was trying at times, difficult. No one likes being shot at, or mortar rounds and artillery exploding around you, rockets whizzing by your head, people dying. It's not pleasant, but that's a very small portion of my time. 5 combat tours in 36 and a half years. It's pretty good. I know people have done a dozen tours in Iraq or in Afghanistan alone. So anyway, yeah, my life was pretty good. The pay was low when I compare it to what I can make in the private sector. And my pay is also low now because I'm turning down jobs to bring you these videos. Yeah, so, yep. Anyway. When you get located in the States, you get approached by the media, tell them you are from Holland on a work visa. There you go. Ghana has low unemployment rate because people finish school, get drafted, pay for service, educated, placed in jobs. No, that's not exactly right. Okay, I joined 32nd Battalion, lived at Buffalo on the Okavango, free rent, food, salary, danger. Today it costs $350 per night to stay on the river. Yeah, no kidding. Skulk Loopshire says, inquiring for the USA. What are you inquiring? I don't see any comments from you, Skulk. It's your first comment. No, I see no comments from you, Skulk. Peter McCabe, welcome to you. Can you ask what the criteria for people be to be denied refugee status? Nobody's been denied refugee status. How can we possibly answer that question? Well, I'll tell you the criteria. You're not a South African citizen. You're not an Afrikaner ethnic person. You're not a racial minority. There you go. There's the reasons for being denied. There's your reasons. Where are you getting the people asking? What's that? Internet may be lagging in South Africa. The cable from South Africa to Portugal has been damaged in the ocean. Again? Jeez. Leon, what's going on? Yeah, it's correct, Ernst. Roman was not employed by the Democratic Alliance. Never claimed he was. He was a government employee. That's why they couldn't get rid of him for so long. And they've broken the law, most likely. So we'll see what happens. Rinaldo Stoltz, did you see Ramaphosa's great new plan to send an Afrikaner to replace Rasul? I've reported on that a month ago, Ren. It's not a new plan. I see. This is what irritates me. That's why I made a video. I've covered this. Guys, all you people who are new to the channel, you need to watch the videos. You need to watch the videos. I've talked about this endlessly. I've talked about it when I've been interviewed in many programs. You know, they want to send a white Afrikaner, and the candidates were Rolf Meyer, Martinus van Schalkwijk, and Nell, none of whom have any credibility with Afrikaners. And it's an insult to Trump because they think he's a racist. Well, they're the racist because they think Trump's a racist. I've covered this over and over again. How many people went over in a second flight? None of your business. I do know. None of your business. I've answered that question 4 times in this broadcast. 4 times in less than an hour. Nobody's business. Are DA and ANC officials eligible? Only if they meet the criteria. All right. South African economy is 37% smaller than its peer group because of the ANC. Yep, that's right, folks. Bloomberg reports 37% smaller than it would have been if it just kept pace because it's growing so slowly. It should be a $12 trillion a year GDP, but instead it's 7.5. That's why I say trillion. That doesn't make sense. It should be 12 trillion from 7.5 billion. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, the point is that the economy should be much larger and the ANC's destroyed it. So billionaire Paul Harris has a message for South Africans. Why are you leaving? South Africa is on the cusp of greatness. It's a wonderful place. Why would you want to leave? I mean, this is what rich, connected, captured, bought, and paid for rich South Africans are like. Renowned businessman Paul Harris said people want to leave South Africa for good because they think there's no future, should think again. He's widely celebrated as one of South Africa's greatest entrepreneurs. And that includes Rand Consolidated Investments, Rand Merchant Bank, and First Rand. He helped establish Ingonwela, Mabula, Veldhoven, and Thorny Bush game reserves. He shared his thoughts about South African emigration during the interview on a Relocated South African podcast. This interview took place amid serious challenges in South Africa, which prompted many people to consider leaving the country. The UN's data shows that in 1990, 295,000 South Africans were living internationally. By 2000, it was 495,000. By 2010, it was 705,000. In 2020, it was 900,000. And in 2024, it has surpassed 1 million. 74 people per day are leaving in that time frame. He says, I emigrated. Whatever way you look at it, it takes 5 years out of your life before you go. It's all you think and talk about. Yeah, well, now that he's fabulously wealthy, he can come back and afford to live like a king in South Africa, and he's telling you not to go. But he left. When you arrive in the new country, it's a struggle to find where you should live, who you're going to make friends with, and what home you can buy. Well, duh. He advised people to avoid obsessing about immigrating. Instead, make the most of their lives in South Africa. Stay here and suffer because I'm making money off of your presence. That's basically what he's saying. Boss Fark 0470 gave $20. Wow. Colonel Chris, what can H-2A worker do? What would you say is the best option? Well, Professor G's still here, and we have conflicting views on this. I would put in a statement of interest that you want to go. You're on a temporary work visa, so this isn't your permanent residence. And if you're called for an interview, you'll have to go for the interview. Fly home, do the interview, and then whatever they want. And then, hope you get in the program. But other people are saying that don't leave the country because then it undermines your asylum argument. I don't agree with that assessment. I'm not an attorney, but I don't agree with that assessment. We've had H-2A workers come and go back and forth multiple times for years. That doesn't mean they're not in jeopardy. And just because Trump finally created a refugee program hasn't changed that statistic. You want to take a chance on filing an asylum claim and wait years? Professor G just said he's got a client has to wait till 2029. What are you going to do for 2029? You can't work as an age. You can't be a farm worker anymore. You can't do that in those 4 years. I would just go on. Trump was misled on the white genocide. This is what Mark Burns says, this priest, this evangelist. Zest Quest, member for 2 months. Thank you for your membership. I appreciate that. Only 9 in second flight. It is hard to believe it because it's fake news, Daniel Callahan. That's false. That's false. It is hard to believe because it's a lie. It's not 9 people in the second flight. The media are telling lies. It wasn't 9 people. 9 people went to a location. And so these idiots think that's how many people there were. What do you think the possibility is that there were people that went on more than one flight on the same day? There's more than one airline that flies the United States. And that it's very real possibility that the people on one airline are unaware of the people on the other airline. Do you think that's possible, maybe? Do you think maybe that's possible? I'm asking for a friend. Daniel Callahan, only 9 went on second flight. That's rubbish. Rubbish. Over 30 years, millions of Afrikaners left South Africa. Exactly. There's no way it's 1 million people. Exactly. People have been leaving for years. What's the problem with people leaving now in the refugee program? Because it exposes the racism, the bigotry, the fraud that's been taking place in South Africa. And that's embarrassing. I don't know why. They're not shamed by it, so what do they care? How will pensioners that cannot get their pensions out of South Africa too old to survive? Well, I'm going to tell you to go watch the videos. Could one of the mods please put up the Indaba Africa Substack.com? I'm not entertaining these questions anymore. It's time for the news. I've spent an hour on this, and I've got a half hour left to get the news done. So if you've got questions about the refugee program, let me just go make sure I didn't miss any super chats, because that does happen. I missed some super chats. So let me make sure I caught them all. I'm sorry, Nina, but I've entertained this. This is a news program, and I've entertained these questions for an hour, and you've asked for it 58 minutes into this. Hey, Gray Man. Okay, you did a super chat. Was it yesterday, or last night? And I didn't see it till after this. My in-laws is on pension, but can't take it with them. How will they survive? Well, that's the same question that someone else just asked me. But will they get some form of pension from the government state? Well, do you think they deserve a pension from the government? You think I should pay taxes for your in-laws coming here? I mean, I'm not being snarky. Do you think that's fair? It's not fair. Why should I pay for your retirees? They didn't contribute to my country. But yes, there's a Social Security supplemental that's paid to people. I'm not an expert on it. I do a video to explain it, and it's under the Substack. Thank you for the 140 Rand super chat, Gray Man. Was that the question you had last night that I missed? Thank you for that. Danny Pinavald says, can we choose which state we want to go to? No, you don't get to choose. You go where there's an absorptive capacity, but you can influence it if you have a job offer, an existing job, family somewhere, or you tell them where you want to go. If they can accommodate you, they will. But you're going to go where they put you. Only one of the refugees I've talked to went to where they're asked to go. But I haven't talked to all of the first 59. No, Andre Clausen, it's not final that the USA will not come to G20. Where are you getting that from? There's a long time between now and November. Can we choose which state we want to go? Okay, I answered that question. Thanks for indulging us about our pets. My pets will be... Okay, I already read that one. Okay, I read these other ones. So I did miss a few. All the hoo-ah about the tax base disappearing. Oh, they're not smart enough to realize the tax base is disappearing. People are excited about 99,868 subscribers. I'm not. I'll be excited about 99,999 because we're just dragging. It's just dragging out here for a week to get 1,000 subscribers. A video that I think you may be interested in seeing. How do I get it to you? Well, send me an email, Mish. I'll get to it as soon as I can. Trump is going to give us some feedback from the meeting with Ramaphosa. Why do they have to give you feedback, John? I think they've given you all the feedback you know. Donald Trump's body language spoke volumes. The fact that he didn't escort Ramaphosa to his vehicle tells you everything you need to know. No one gets an email in response to the program. You put a statement of interest in, there's no auto reply, Scooty. I've covered this 18 million times. Yeah, Bugout says, Aish, Colonel, patience of a saint. Exactly. All these questions have been answered. Some have been answered 5 times in this broadcast. Had people come to my home posing as municipal workers to replace a broken meter. They're very arrogant. My son denied them entrance, upset they took photos of our home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were fake. These are criminals. These are people trying to steal your property. Yep. I haven't had time for polls, Steve. You guys got any ideas for polls? Anonymous says, some of these refugee questions are concerning. People are too lazy to research. Oh, incredibly lazy. You're 100% correct. People are very lazy. Not everybody, but a lot are. Exactly. There's a press conference every Tuesday and Thursday. Tammy Bruce will tell you. Can you wear a Bucker Elf bunny? There's no super chat about planes. Where are you telling me? I mean, I didn't see that. Super chat about planes. No. 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 Nope. 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 No, there's no super chat asking about planes. It didn't go through. All right. Okay. Yes, John, I'm getting to it. So Trump was misled. This by an uninformed idiot who went to South Africa. Now he's a subject matter expert, actually being quoted by the Mail and Guardian. Notice how the Mail and Guardian's never contacted me for comment because I'm not some willing accomplice in the cover-up. Trump was misled, says his advisor. He's not Trump's advisor. Mark Burns is a televangelist who used to work at McDonald's. Black televangelist Mark Burns, in an interview with Mail and Guardian, challenged the white genocide narrative about South Africa and decried the country's foreign policy ambivalence towards the dollar. He's a minister of the Harvest Worship Center in South Carolina, a Republican who ran for state governor. He served as a board. He failed every election. He ran 4 times. He served as a board member of the Pastors for Trump and an early supporter of Donald Trump. Time magazine named him one of Trump's top advisors. Well, Time magazine's full of crap, and that was also in 2016. Burns' visit to South Africa follows months of strained relations between South Africa and the United States, which culminated in 49 Afrikaners being granted refugee status in the U.S. Actually, that's false. It's false. It's 59. And the awkward bilateral trade reset meeting where Ramaphosa was confronted by genocide claims. That's a lie. Who wrote this garbage? Natakaliko Joseph Mabusa, you're wrong. Trump didn't confront anybody about genocide. You idiots are making this up. Trump was asked about genocide and he said he wasn't convinced. So start telling the truth. Anyway, he's just an idiot. This guy, Mark Burns, is a fool. Another willing accomplice to the cover-up. South Africa's tuberculosis research is collapsing because the American taxpayers aren't paying for it anymore. Wow. But I thought you didn't need our money. Well, now you can't do tuberculosis research because your cheap skinflint thieving government hasn't been funding it. We've been funding it, and you're not getting it more. Hey, Floyd Shivambu has been sacked as the Secretary General of the Umkhonto we Sizwe Party. And guess what? He was rewarded with being sent to Parliament. In the UK, you get sent to Coventry when they get rid of you. In South Africa, they fire you and put you in Parliament. They've redeployed their Secretary General to the National Assembly after his unsanctioned visit to Pastor Bushiri in Malawi. That's the guy who has escaped justice. Well, all right. So John Schlope, the impeached former Western Cape High Court judge, has been kicked off the Judicial Service Commission, which he never should have been put on. It's an insult to justice. His impeachment means his continued involvement in judicial affairs would diminish public trust, according to the court. 100%. How can you have someone who's been impeached for their corruption and misconduct be on a panel that oversees people being appointed to the courts? It's beyond stupid. Petrol prices and diesel prices have come down in South Africa today. Woohoo! This is what happens in a command economy where the market doesn't determine the prices. You have to wait for the government to lower the price. Despite the fact that petrol price has been dropping for a month, now they're finally dropping the price. That's like the fourth time. Zimbabwe is going to kill elephants and feed them to hungry people. They used to be able to feed people and elephants. Now they're killing elephants to feed people. Yep, the Zimbabwe will cull dozens of elephants and distribute the meat for consumption to ease the ballooning population of the animals. Instead of transporting them to countries that need more elephants, they're going to kill them and feed them to people. The cull at a vast private game reserve in the southeast would literally initially target 50 elephants. Wow. An aerial survey showed the reserve, the Save the Valley Conservancy, had 2,550 elephants, more than triple its carrying capacity of 800. 200 have been relocated the past 5 years. Jules, people that want to keep us here are just worried about themselves. Exactly. Let you be. Exactly. An explosion was reported in Uganda's capital of Kampala at a Catholic shrine. The blast killed at least 2 people, the Daily Monitor newspaper reported. Ugandan army spokesman wrote on X that a counterterrorism unit this morning intercepted and neutralized 2 armed terrorists in Munyonyo, upscale city suburb. I know where Munyonyo is. There's a big resort there. I used to go there all the time. United Nations convoy has been attacked on its way to the Al-Fashir region in Sudan. Delivering food in North Darfur came under attack overnight. The world is just falling apart. The United Kingdom is backing Morocco's plan for limited autonomy for the Salwahiri, or for Western Sahara, I should say. The United Kingdom has formally endorsed Morocco's 2007 autonomy plan for Western Sahara as the most credible path towards resolving the long-standing territorial dispute, marking a significant diplomatic development during the 5th session of the Morocco-UK Strategic Dialogue in Rabat. Now, this plan has been out there for 18 years. Why is the UK suddenly endorsing it? Because Donald Trump endorsed Morocco's claim to Western Sahara in his first term, and the UK now wants to curry favor with the Trump administration. So they're bending at the knee to recognize Western Sahara's ownership by Morocco. Insurgents killed dozens in Mali and attacked Timbuktu. An al-Qaeda-linked jihadist group active in Western Africa's Sahel region was claimed an attack on a military base in Mali on Sunday. In a separate attack on Monday, the group's Jama Nurasat Islam wa al-Muslimin, the JNIM, said it targeted a military airport and Russian mercenaries in the northern city of Timbuktu. More than 400 soldiers reported been killed by insurgents since the start of May at bases and towns around Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso in an unstoppable conflict that's playing out there. Brigitte gave a 35 Rand super sticker. Thank you very much. Oh, boy. I'm missing some chat over here. Jules gave people... I already got that one. I don't understand your question, Anne-Marie. Why can't someone not get a job? There's 14 million jobs, 13 million jobs vacant. There's federal laws against age discrimination. I don't know about the IC official. Pastor Dingbat is being used as PSYOP, exactly. Oh, by the government of South Africa, too. Thanks, Asbach, but there's no more place for us. Okay. It's not up to Chris to answer them. He has millions of videos answering them. Show them some initiative. Look at his videos. What did Venom say? I'm curious now. What did Venom say? I believe many people who are asking the irritating question just anxious, need some assurance due to their circumstances. Well, I agree with you, Venom. You're 100% correct. But have the courtesy to watch the videos instead of interrupting the news. It's not too much to ask. So if Ahmad could put up and it's indabaafrica.substack.com, and it'll link you to all the videos there. Mad Max. Your somebody says it has so far received 50,000. Yeah, I saw that. I reported on it earlier. And boy, wow, Arctic is being very generous. He just deletes questions, but he just answered Melissa's question for one I answered 15 minutes ago. Excuse me. And Cool Piecing says her question's a great question, valid. No, it's not. I answered it 15 minutes ago. And now Patch is answering it too. Young breeding age Afrikaners and their children to hamper the white minority gap in conservative voters, says Daniel. Who's we? We. Americans? No, we don't. That's nonsense. Hey, Mad Max, I'm glad you're okay. All right, so moving on. So why are humanitarian crises in Africa ignored? Because the world doesn't care. Africa is a basket case. It goes backwards no matter how much money we give it. The latest most neglected crises report on Africa's most visible humanitarian emergencies list African nations first. Of course. Of course. African countries again top the list of the world's most ignored crises. Nearly all the worst funded humanitarian challenges located on the continent. The report by the nonprofit Norwegian Refugee Council lists Cameroon, Mozambique, and a host of other African nations as some of the most burdened by violence and displacement. The news comes as the United States, formerly the world's biggest aid provider, massively cut development funding this year. Aid agencies receive only half what they need in 2024, and experts say further shrinking will likely occur in 2025. 8 African emergencies were previously ranked as the most ignored in 2023. Well, yeah, it's because only the Americans are giving money. So how about the rest of the world stop bitching and moaning and start giving money? That's what you need to do. Mongolia's prime minister has resigned after losing the backing of parliament. The upheaval comes after protests in Ulaanbaatar alleging corruption involving the prime minister and his family. Mongolia's prime minister, Luvsan Samsarai Ulun Erdin, has stepped down after losing parliamentary support following corruption claims. The parliament of the world's largest landlocked country did not pass a draft resolution on a confidence ballot, meaning that he was deemed to have resigned, noted at parliament. So he doesn't have the humility of being forced out. He actually just resigns. We Irish were never homogenous. Always hybrids, always mongrels. A Colin Farrell narrated series insults the Irish, an intentional racist attack to undermine the homogeny of Ireland. And I'm not even going to go into that story I talked about last night. Leon Yusta, thank you, Colonel, for all your insight and fact-based news. Without your guidance and extreme patience, we would be lost. Car Guard K9 Army Unit. Yeah, we should start a K9 Car Guard Unit. Yep. The White House submits a request to cut $9.4 billion in foreign aid. Public media funding, yes. Cuts proposed by Trump would codify several cuts that were suggested by Doge. The White House yesterday asked Congress to approve a $9.4 billion in spending cuts that would primarily affect U.S. foreign aid and federally funded media, including PBS and NPR. There you go. It's a rescission package. Wall Street is sounding the alarm on U.S. debt. This time it's worth listening. I'm sorry. So isn't it funny how even the Wall Street Journal is captured? They've ignored the U.S. debt as we've screamed about the dangers and the cost. Now that we spend over $8 billion a year servicing the debt, or $1 trillion a year servicing the debt, up from $280 billion just 5 years ago. Now that we spend over $1 trillion a year servicing this monstrous debt, suddenly the media cares. Why? Because Donald Trump is president and they have nothing to attack him with. So they're going to blame Trump for the debt. He bears some responsibility, but Barack Obama bears most of the responsibility, and then Joe Biden. The amount of debt they poured on was sickening. Barack Obama doubled our debt from what 240 years it brought us in just 8 years. Wall Street is sounding the alarm on U.S. debt. You're going to see a crack in the bond market, says Jamie Dimon. He has plenty of company. Yeah, well, where were you people at 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Peter Orszag, chief executive of investment bank Lazard and a former budget director, wrote last week that those who bemoan the unsustainable deficit spending and debt levels back during his time in government seemed to cry wolf a lot. Now he's worried too because the wolf is lurking much closer. Well, we weren't crying wolf. We don't like paying $1 trillion a year in interest on the debt, you moron. If you had stopped borrowing this money and lived within your budget, we wouldn't be in this situation. Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, is going to take the naming of the Harvey Milk, the gay San Francisco council member who's held up as an icon by the gay community because he was murdered, taking the name off. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered a review of ship names honoring Mr. Milk, a gay rights pioneer, and other leaders. In Mr. Milk's case, the move is intended as a rebuke of Pride Month. Mr. Milk is one of several trailblazers. He's not a trailblazer. He just happened to be gay. That doesn't make you a trailblazer being gay. He was elected to office. Plenty of gay people in office. He wasn't a trailblazer. He's been identified for possible removal from naval vessels. According to a senior official familiar with the memo from John Phelan, the Secretary of the Navy, they include Thurgood Marshall, former Supreme Court Justice from Maryland, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice, Harriet Tubman, who ran the Underground Railroad. Now that's unfortunate. Tubman's a good name for a boat. Lucy Stone, a prominent abolitionist, Medgar Evers, civil rights leader, and Cesar Chavez, a labor leader. Well, why is Cesar Chavez having a boat named after him? He's just a guy that caused strikes in the farming industry. What did he do for the country? Other undermined racial solidarity. Battle lines form after Musk's criticism of big, beautiful bill divides Republicans. Elon is simply wrong, says House Speaker Mike Johnson, but Senator Rand Paul sided with the DOE chief, saying we can and must do better, and I agree with Elon Musk. Battle lines are forming in Congress after former Department of Justice Government Efficiency Chief Elon Musk delivered his harshest criticism. Yesterday, he described legislation as an abomination. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those of you who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. There you go. With all due respect, Elon is simply wrong about the one big, beautiful bill, Mike Johnson said. No, with all due respect, Mike Johnson's wrong. Just be honest. You're spending us into oblivion, and you're just like the Democrats. Wells Fargo is allowed to grow again after 7 years under asset cap penalty. This is governments picking and choosing winners. There were corrupt people inside Wells Fargo who created fictitious bank accounts and billed customers for giving them multiple accounts. Suddenly you had this brokerage account, you didn't ask for it, you get charged fees. You got this retirement account, you didn't ask for it, you're being charged fees. It was a massive amount of fraud a decade ago. It was uncovered. The bank admitted it. They punished the people responsible. They were hit with a huge fine, like $169 million. And then on top of that, they were banned from growing their bank. They couldn't take more assets. So if people put money in the bank, they'd have to sell things like loans so they could stay under the $2 trillion cap. This is the height of government arrogance. Punishing the shareholders in Wells Fargo, which is a publicly traded company. Denying people 7 years of wealth. So retirees are screwed. They couldn't make any more money because the stock couldn't appreciate, because the bank couldn't grow, because the government stuck its nose in its business. The $169 million fine was warranted, but this nonsense wasn't. Federal regulators moved to lift an unprecedented punishment that had handcuffed growth at Wells Fargo, a milestone in the bank's efforts to repair its tarnished reputation after its fake account scandal erupted a decade ago. Federal Reserve Board of Governors voted to remove a restriction that had capped the bank's assets at around $2 trillion. It was the most severe rebuke handed down after the bank's disclosure that it had opened millions of unauthorized customer accounts. So here's what's happened in the meantime. Wells Fargo has flatlined. Citigroup is larger now. Bank of America is much larger. And JP Morgan has gone from 2.5 trillion to 4 trillion in assets. Bank of America from 2 trillion to 3 trillion, 3.25 trillion. And Wells Fargo has been stuck at under 2 trillion because of the government's interference in the private marketplace. Unbelievable. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up today, airline crews say that diversity, equity, and inclusion continues to undermine the aviation community. Yep. One veteran airline captain said a routine flight to Denver changed her view about aviation safety, but not because of an in-flight crisis. The captain heard a story that, for the first time in her decades-long career, made her uneasy about putting her loved ones on a plane. During a 2024 conversation, a flight instructor described unusual steps managers had taken to salvage the career of a young female trainee pilot. The instructor described an egregious example of an apparent relaxing standards to meet diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is by a female captain saying this. The trainee repeatedly failed rudimentary pilot training tests by crashing computer simulation flight. She proved her inability to operate airplane's three most basic control mechanisms. Yet management balked when the instructor failed her. She was rehabilitated and allowed to continue, even though she should have been washed out, the captain told the Epic Times. I don't care if you're man or woman, that is concerning to me. And she's right. Disturbed that such a trainee may still be in the cockpit, the captain said, I don't want myself or my family to be in the back of an airplane. That's really when it comes down to, right? Would you want to be back of that airplane? Nope. The captain, a woman who was hired long before these DEI programs took hold, said the story of the trainee shows how far her airline is willing to go for the apparent sake of DEI. They jeopardize aviation safety and people's lives, just like the Black Hawk flight for an unqualified Black Hawk captain who should have been grounded, and flew her Black Hawk into a commercial flight over the Potomac, killing everyone involved. Yep. I've covered Elon Musk, so I'm not going to do that anymore. All right, so I've got three more stories on Elon Musk. We're going to wrap it there. So, all right. I got to check on something here very quickly before we go anywhere, folks. So if anyone's feelings were hurt because I said I'm not going to address something, I'm sorry about that. That wasn't my intent. But, you guys are asking the same questions in a news broadcast, and I entertained them today. And a lot of my viewers came for the news, not for Refugee. I said I'll start doing a Refugee thing, and I'm going to start doing that. So, but it's really not too much to ask people to have the courtesy to go watch the videos. Okay, where am I at here? Members only, Thursdays, Wednesdays with a Colonel. Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Anyway. Rian says, it's your choice, Chris. Thank you all for all you do. It's amazing that there are those with huge hearts like yourself as well. There aren't many of us, John. There aren't many of us. Karine Jean-Pierre has left the Democratic Party. She's going to release a book, I bet, and expose Biden. Wouldn't that be funny? But she has no credibility, so it'll be a tell-all book. Who's going to listen? If you're South African, what does it matter what color you are? Well, yeah, it's a good question. What does it matter? So why are people being persecuted because they're white and brown? Don't want people to know my plans. Well, I would agree with you. Refugee posted on cost of asylum that will be implied if bills pass. Okay. What else we got here? Most silliest questions I've heard about refugee program was posted on Facebook, which goes as follows. Going to Miss Woolies. Is Trader Joe's similar to Woolies? That is pretty stupid, Anonymous. Thank you for sharing that. David Minnie, we are here because we appreciate what you do, but I must wonder why you deal the need to piss someone. But I must wonder why you feel the need to piss on someone who's asking our request. Well, David, if your feelings are hurt, then you're a pretty fragile flower. I didn't curse at anybody. I didn't yell at anybody. I didn't call people stupid. I didn't attack anybody. And if I'll just ignore you. Is that what you prefer? The questions are asked. You can watch these live streams from the beginning. There's no law against that. YouTube allows you to go back and watch it. Even while it's live, you can go back to the beginning and watch it. It's perfectly acceptable to do that. David, I don't appreciate people crapping all over me. You have no idea what I'm going through here. Again, my time is valuable, and I give it freely, and don't ask for much in return. And I'm not pissing on anybody. People are pissing on me by having disrespect by asking the same damn questions over and over again. I understand you're busy. I'm busy too. And I'm sacrificing a job and not doing a job to be here to do this. Pissing on people? No. No one's forced to watch the program. Again, I said I've answered the question 5 minutes ago. So you go back 5 minutes. You go back 10, 15 minutes and watch it. Well, thank you for your thoughts. Appreciate that, David. Are you also against One Big Bill as it currently stands? Yes, I'm against the bill, Peter, because it's an abomination. I mean, I'm not going to lose any sleep if it's passed. We need a budget. It'd be nice to have a budget for once, some point during the year, instead of continuing resolutions. But it just builds on the debt. But there are some good things in the bill. No tax on tips. That's an abomination. No tax on overtime. I think that's a gift. That's lovely. It's going to encourage people to be more work harder and improve efficiency and efficacy. But the tax on Social Security benefits is still there. That was supposed to go away. Why is Elon making such noise about the big bill? Because it's so terrible, Janine. That's why. It's his place to do it. Genghis Khan has been dead for many hundreds of years. Jay says, I'm curious why you keep saying Trump never said there was a white genocide when he did. Well, Jay, I'm curious why you're falsely claiming I said something I never said. I've never said that. Jay, you see my frustration, folks? I've never said that. Jay is saying, I'm curious why you keep saying Trump has never said there was a white genocide. I never said that. I said that until the point that it was no longer true. A few weeks back, Trump did post something on Truth Social in which he mentioned white genocide. And then he was asked a question in a press conference, and he answered the question, and he was pissed off, and he said white genocide. So yes, he's mentioned twice. But I never said he never said it since he said it. What I've said since those events is that I'm saying it over and over and over again. See, this is where people just hear what they want to hear. Trump never said white genocide until about a month ago. And he said it twice since then that I'm aware of. What I have said repeatedly and correctly is that Trump never said white genocide in the press conference. Yet all these fake news media outlets are saying that he pressed the issue of a white genocide. He never said it. When he was asked the question in a setup question to embarrass him by a South African reporter, Trump said, I'm not convinced. The question almost verbatim was, President Trump, do you still believe that there's a white genocide in South Africa? And Trump shrugged his shoulders and said, I'm not convinced of that. So how is that? He never said that in that meeting. Never used the phrase white genocide. Yet every media outlet claims he said it. I never said what you're saying. Trump never said white genocide until about a month ago, roughly. And he mentioned it twice in that time that I'm aware of. He may have had other meetings I missed, but he mentioned it twice. He's not the one pushing the white genocide narrative. The media are. So don't misquote me, Jaya. Don't misquote me. Don't misquote me. The rubbish guys are outside. Some really weird sounds coming from them. They have a machine that picks up the rubbish bins automatically. Why is Trump allowed to? Because Trump doesn't write the bills. Congress writes the bills. The president can only propose a budget, which he did. Congress has to write the bill for the budget and then send it to the president after they approve it. He has no control over what Congress does. He can try to influence them, but he has no control. It's a separate, co-equal branch of government. The crown has to be safe to do with some new thing that YouTube has put in here for people to contribute to the community. I don't know how it works. It's something to do with how often you chat or questions you ask, but YouTube does it. So, Varushka, just because I love and appreciate. Well, thank you so much for the 50 Rand. Okay. Please send your garbage bin to come collect our parliament. All right, folks. Hang on a second. Reinaldo Stoltz, 70 Rand Super Chat. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. 927 likes. Guys, can we do a little bit better than that? Can we get some more likes? Or are people upset because I've not answered your questions well enough? Yeah, they do collect it, China, but I have to pay for it. Yes, the whole thing is propaganda, PK, by the left. Not by the right, by the left. And that's what I've been saying all along. Gideon Jacobs just gave membership. Johan van der Koif got it, or Kolf. Congratulations. And Lynette Taylor gave 12 Rand Super Chat. Thank you for that, Lynette. Very kind of you. Southern government site to renew or apply passports disabled. Oh, that sucks. Arctic says, I pay for garbage, but that doesn't mean they come and collect it. Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, guys, we got to wrap it up here. Please feel free to come join us over at Ronaldo, okay? If I somehow magically reach 100,000 subscribers today, as long as it's not during my radio program tonight, I will go live. I will go live. We need 129 subscribers to hit 100,000. Doesn't look like we're going to get there. But if I make it, I'll go live. That's a promise, okay? I'll stop what I'm doing. Yeah, it is time for Ronaldo. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Thank you for your patience. And if anybody's feelings are hurt, sorry. You're just a little too sensitive. Thank you. All righty. So, we'll see you on Ronaldo in just a moment. Cheers.